We'll see. It says it's streaming now. If anybody's on, let us know.
Are you on Facebook?
Let's see if hopefully we've got sound and video now.
Hopefully Andrew's still there.
Oh, what a mess.
Lord. That's life.
Yeah.
Life is a little messy sometimes.
A little stressful.
Yep.
So
Are you going to push play on that?
No, I want to make sure everything's live first.
Hey, we got people popping on.
Yay, we're
Cool.
back.
So we're back. Here, let me hit live on Facebook. We'll get going here.
Yeah. Life's a little messy.
Yeah, so here we are. We're live tonight. We just had a problem. Wirecast crashed, and now we're back up. So we're a little 12 minutes late. But tonight's topic is about Airless. I'm all nervous because everything just crashed and I had to reinstall everything. And so I'm all messed up. But tonight's topic is 6 best tips for painting with an airless sprayer. So I got to get myself calmed down now from this
I can
disaster.
calm
So my wife will have to talk
Yeah.
and calm everything down here.
Things can always be worse.
Yeah, things can be worse. So yeah. So
Life comes with problems, but we are super excited, and hopefully people are back with us now. We had some technical difficulties because we're super duper excited that last week we said we wanted to give all the money for Super Chat to the Red Cross for Hurricane Harvey, and because of you guys, I was able to send $1,385 to the Red Cross. So that's so exciting, and just thank you, because it's all because of you guys. And I have not been really with it with Irma, and so we're going to have to wait and hear. I did see some of our followers, they said they were okay. So our prayers are for everybody in Florida right now.
Yeah, so make sure I got to do a few things here just to make sure nothing gets, messed up.
And then also, I think it's been 16 years from 9/11. And so just our thoughts and prayers are with those families also. And if you ever do go to New York, make sure and go to the 9/11 memorial, because New York did a great job memorializing the people that their lives were ended, and showed the resiliency of America.
Yeah.
In our country.
Awesome.
So our prayers for them tonight.
Absolutely incredible museum memorial. You gotta go see it. Now we got the Facebook is back up. We had all kinds of technical difficulties tonight.
Okay.
One thing I think the problem is the phone itself. I never did turn wireless off on my phone, so I think the wireless
Did you
was.
do it?
I just turned it off just now.
Good job.
So I think that was interfering with the wireless on the lap or the computer.
So our feed's not working. The live feed.
Is it not working?
Is that that's an old live feed. I think that needs to die, and you started a new one.
Yeah, that's true.
So we need to get a new live feed
Yeah,
going.
so
But we're really excited to have you guys with us tonight, and really excited to talk about what we're going to talk about.
there's our new live feed right there.
Somebody gave $10.
So we already got a
That's so
super
nice.
chat going on. Really, really cool. So
We need that.
so
to go to-
my nerves are starting to calm down from this major crash that we just had here. In this short amount of time, Wirecast crashed. I uninstalled Wirecast, reinstalled it, and had to create a new YouTube live event and got it up and going. So, yeah.
Well, for
So-
us, we definitely, we learn as we go, and we want to be a part of this community and learn from you guys. And one thing we want to talk about before we start our topic is, just kind of a recap of our week. Chris
Yeah.
had an exciting day. Show your bracelet.
Yeah.
You got a
let me-
designer bracelet.
Yeah, let me get this over here set up here, the super chat set up. I got a super chat from Andrew Slovacek already. Thank you very much, Andrew. So here's my bracelet, for today. So I had knee surgery today.
Meniscus.
Yeah, I had a torn meniscus and from wakeboarding, and so I had to finally go in. I tried to play soccer.
Yeah, that was funny.
with the family. We got a family soccer team, and that just tore it up even worse. So this was my souvenir for the day right there.
And we had a good weekend.
Yeah, so this weekend we drove to Pocatello, Idaho, because my daughter McKenna my daughter McKenna. She's a rugby player,
Yes.
and she plays rugby for ISU. So we went and watched her play rugby.
And we are very excited because the last time I watched her play, she broke her leg and tore tendons. And so that was not a fun experience. So that was in the spring, and now she is healed and back at rugby. So I don't know. As a mom, she's really good at it and she loves it. And I don't know how to feel about that because I don't want to see my daughter get hurt. And I don't quite understand her loving it, but then she's really good at it. So it's very, very mixed emotions. But we went there and she did not get injured. And we're back in Boise.
Yeah. Rick tells me not to be nervous. So
Oh, yeah.
it's just a live show.
Yeah, that's
The
all.
nerves are going away. But if you notice, I'm not wearing my headphones.
Oh,
You
my
didn't even
goodness.
notice.
I didn't even notice. Well, it's been kind of, with him, he had surgery this morning and he kind of slept all day. And so we didn't even know if the live show was going to go on, but the show must go on. So here we are.
Yeah. So we're giving away a couple giveaways tonight to people that started on our live show on Instagram today. I started an Instagram live just to say I was going on YouTube live about an hour ago. So the people that pop over from Instagram to YouTube, we got a few things we're going to be giving away to a couple of those. I've already see a couple of them that were on.
Well, I want
Splash
to know
Painting was
Andrew
on.
Slovic if he has gotten a shirt from us yet, because if not, we need to get him a shirt.
Yeah, if we haven't given you a shirt, Andrew, let us know, and
Yeah.
we'll send you a shirt, signed or unsigned, whatever you want. So,
But I think that example, what it just got us talking about, is in life there is problems. And we run a small business, and we've been doing it for a little over 15 years. And we've kind of learned as we've gone through. And so one thing that happened today was there was a problem at a customer's home. And what we learned is that you take care of problems immediately so that they don't become big problems. And so that's my business advice to you today. If you have a customer call and says, you got paint all over my sidewalk, you stop what you're doing. If it's dinner, if it's Sunday, it doesn't matter. And you go and you clean it, and you're going to save that relationship. And you could save your reputation, because that customer could sit with a week of a mess on their ground, and they could write a bad review, and they could fire you. So my free advice.
yeah, and Andrew says he'd rather have a hat. We'll send you a hat, Andrew. So,
We will.
Yeah. And I'll just follow up on that to just explain, what the problem was. So today we were prepping a house. I wasn't there because I was having a knee surgery, but that doesn't even matter anyways. John, I don't know if anybody can even see John. He's here.
John's here.
So
Yeah.
John, he runs the show. He runs the painting crew and stuff. He's the man. So we were out. The crew was out painting today, and we were removing Christmas lights hooks off of fascia. And it's a service we have because it's really hard to paint the fascia with them on, and we don't reinstall them, but we just take them off if the customers don't want them anymore. And some of them, fell on the ground. Maybe a handful of them or so on the driveway. And they're just small things, and it's a small thing that can get overlooked. And when we left, one of our big things is we always preach, and we tell our customers, we always leave your job site cleaner than when we came, and it's one of our selling points. And we walked away from this job site maybe just a little bit in a rush, too fast, and just overlooked them. And the customer came home, and for one thing, if they run over some of these little small nails and stuff, it could get in their tires, give them a flat tire and stuff. So it could just be a problem. But then it's just not leaving the job site cleaner than when we left there. And the customer called up and was extremely upset. And we could say it was the end of the day, and guys were already gone home, and John was on his way here to work on the live show. And the customer called up pretty upset, and the customer said that they picked him up, but we don't want the customers doing the job, and we want to make sure it's right, and we're going to make it right, whether that's going back and giving them an apology and making it right. And John was on his way here. We called him up. We said, John, this needs to be taken care of. We need to go see the customer personally. It's on the phone is not good enough. And so John went over to the house. What'd you do, John? You can tell him what.
Yeah, it's just, the first thing is you just apologize apologize. You say, hey, look, I'm sorry. It was an oversight on our site, and we never want that to happen, and we're so sorry. And tell them, we're gonna make sure it's all taken care of and cleaned up, and you just you take responsibility for it. I think that's the number one biggest thing you can do, and then fix the problem.
Yeah, I think taking responsibility is extremely important. And one thing you got to realize, if you don't take responsibility, if you don't take care of it right away, the power of social media, they can get on Nextdoor Neighbor, which is a very powerful app around here where we live, and they can say bad things about you. And man, you just want to take, and if you do take care of it right away, I know.
Facebook feed, it's down. If you give that to me, I'll set it back up.
All right, the Facebook feed is down.
I should just give up on Facebook tonight.
So no, that's all right. We won't give up on Facebook. We don't want to give up on those
Okay.
people. So
Sure.
yeah, so you just take care of it right away. So we did, and this is just like, you're gonna run into problems, just like this live show had problems in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, and you just got to deal with them and handle them.
Yeah.
So
But the soonest you can take care of it, the best.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm going to send a little gift card to buy a cup of coffee and to take some money off of the estimate because,
just for that little inconvenience, I
Yeah.
recommended Lisa to just take $150 off their estimate. I mean, just for the customers, the inconvenience of them being upset and the inconvenience of them having to pick up, the
Yeah.
nails. Tonight's topic is six best tips for painting with an airless sprayer. So we got some really cool tips to spraying with an airless sprayer that we're going to go over tonight. So that's kind of cool.
yeah. What's the first one, Chris?
So the first one is, what is the first one? So the first one, and this is extremely important, and it's spraying with spray gun extensions. And here's one of them. So our Facebook is back up. So what was the problem with that, John?
I don't know. We've got the tech demons today.
We do. That's okay.
So is it all? It's Facebook is
It's
live
all
again.
Live. Yep.
Facebook's live again.
Yay. Welcome
So
back.
did the feed break, or is it?
Yeah, I think we lost the signal.
Cool.
We're good.
Oh, we're good now. So, and it's spraying with spray gun extensions. And it's interesting because I follow over 1,400 people on, we've got to go quick too because we've lost, some time, because of being down. I just noticed the time, it's 7:24 already.
Okay.
But we follow a lot of people on Instagram, and I see a lot of guys spraying without these things, and these things are absolutely incredible. And we have them from, here's one right here, as short as 6 inches and as long as 30 inches. And why would you use these things? And here's just a few reasons. And the long ones, they just give you more reach. You can reach out farther from left to right. Whoa! From top to bottom. And that reach, what does that mean? It means you're going to walk less. You're going to climb up the ladders less. And what does that mean? At the end of the day, you're not going to be as tired. And like me, I just had a knee surgery. And if you're getting older, it's not going to wear out your knees and joints as fast and as much. So, these things, it's incredible, how well these things work, what they'll do for you. And I painted for years without them, and it feels, at first it can be intimidating using them because it's they're long. Usually if you start off with shorter ones, it'll be a lot easier for you, but eventually when you have one of these things on, I can spray just about anything. A door with it, I can spray siding, ceilings, walls, anything, trim with them. But just that farther reach doing a garage door, I don't have to bend down. To get down there to the bottom of the garage door, I don't have to get on to a ladder to do the top of the garage door. I can do it all with a gun extension. And there's gun extensions, and then there's spray gun poles where you actually put your spray gun on the end of a pole, and then you control your gun from the trigger at the end of the pole. And those things, we have them, and they'll extend up to, I don't know, what do those spray poles extend to, John? Like 20 feet or not that much?
God.
The gun ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're
16?
probably 18 to 20.
18 to 20 feet they'll extend. So you can imagine if you had a ceiling up there instead of that's 15 feet high, and these things won't get that high, and you'd have to climb up to a ladder. You can just take a spray pole and spray a whole entire ceiling with a spray pole. I've got a friend that does the whole exterior of a house using a spray pole, so he never gets on the ladder. But you got to use these things, and you got to become familiar with them. And if you want to become a faster, more efficient sprayer and less tired at the end of the day, these things are an absolute must. And there is one thing about them is they do create spits. So because the longer extension, the more lag time there is from when the paint is shut off to the end of the tip, it causes a spit. And you learn to work around those spits, and you begin to spray and start your spray pattern off of your surface and end off the surface, wherever. But on the exteriors of houses and stuff where it's all wood siding and stuff like that, a spit will never show. And so these things, they're very, very important to use. If you're worried about spits, you can always use the Graco clean shots, and these things eliminate spits, but they make the gun extension heavier. And another thing I like about the gun extensions, when I'm cleaning my sprayer or starting it off, when you don't have your tip on and you pull your trigger and there's no tip and guard on, paint just shoots out everywhere and just splatters everywhere. With these things, that doesn't happen. So that's probably the number one tip, and I would tell anybody, using an airless sprayer, use these things. I just saw a guy the other day on Instagram painting a garage door, and he was bending all the way down and all the way up, and then I saw somebody painting the interior of a bedroom, and and they were having to reach so high up and go all the way down, and man, you would just be less tired, less anxiety, less wear and tear on your body. So
we are all about that with knee
surgery. I've had 2 knee surgeries and 2 back surgeries, and these things are lifesavers. And
they are.
I'm gonna be 51 soon, and so there's great. But John, maybe I shouldn't reveal his age, but John's a young guy, and
he's a youngin'.
He doesn't want to age himself as a painter any faster. So why not use the gun extension? And then once again, it's gonna just make you faster, more efficient, which is gonna make you more money.
Yeah.
More money is a good thing.
So for people that are just joining us, we're talking about six
tips? Best tips to spray with an airless sprayer. So we're going to give you...
We talked about number one was...
Number one is using a gun extension.
What's number 2?
So number 2 is, what I write on the list, using the correct tip size.
Do you have any videos on tip sizes?
I do. I have videos on using gun extensions, how to control spits when you're using gun extensions, and I do have multiple videos on the proper tip sizes for airless sprayers. And I know when I was over in the UK here recently, and talking with some of the painters over there, and one of the large painters that has a company, he has Danny Lucas, as their Lucas Painting, the industries, they have over 300 painters. And the fear for them is overspray. Everybody's afraid of overspray. And tips are part of controlling overspray, having the proper tip size for what you're spraying. If you're spraying trim, and this is I'll reveal this little information. The very first house I painted with an airless sprayer was my house. We built it from ground up, and
not this one.
Not this one. The very I built the house all by myself, and I painted the trim, and I sprayed the trim with a 517 tip. And I
know you always hated that trim.
I didn't know what tip size to use. I think I rented a sprayer, and the tip that came with was a 5, and I absolutely butchered that trim. It was runs all over it. It was a mess. And there's no way, not even me, not even John, as much experience as we have, can we spray trim with a 517 or a 515 tip and get it to come out really glassy smooth and look really good. So you need to know the proper tip sizes. You need to use fine finish tips for fine finish work. So if you're trying to paint a door and you want it to have that fine finish automobile look, you don't want to use a 517 because it's going to kind of give it this eggshelly thick look, and so you're going to want to use like a 310. Now, would you use a 310 on painting an exterior? I mean, that's not ideal because it's going to be showing spraying out this really small pattern. You want to get a nice wide pattern so you can spray faster, more efficient. And the paint's going to go on thicker, and so it's going to last longer, and you're eventually going to make more money. Now, it's interesting because I did spray on my house, the house I built. I did just the opposite. I painted the exterior of it with a 310. The whole exterior of the house.
So you've learned the hard way.
I've learned. I've made those mistakes, and what's one of the reasons why one of the very first videos I ever made was one on tip sizes, because I had no idea and I didn't know where to get the information on which ones to use. So using the proper tip sizes is incredibly important, and then not using them too long, because those tips wear out fast, extremely fast, and a lot of people don't understand it. But a tip, when you're spraying the exterior, is like a 515 tip is what we spray them with. Those things, I mean, they don't work for more than 50 gallons, and then they become what we call blown out. The orifices get wider because the paints are abrasive. They're going to widen that hole, and the droplets of paint are going to become bigger. It's not going to atomize well, and it's going to create lots of overspray.
And so my little advice, I'm giving little business advice, when you're bidding a job, count the expense of one of these into the job, so that when it's blown, you don't feel bad about throwing away, because you know that it's just like you bought paint and you used it, and you don't feel bad about the paint you used.
That's a very good tip. It's like, I mean, just you got to add that cost. Every single house, that $35 cost that needs to go into your cost of doing business. We're going to give away the Titan HEA tips. They just came out with them. These things are high efficiency airless tips, and they run at only 1,000 psi. We typically spray at 2,200 psi the exteriors. Now you can drop it down to 1,000. So what does that mean? One of the biggest things is less overspray. It's huge. It's I mean, this is incredibly less overspray. They just came out with them. We just tested them. And what do you think of that Titan HEA tip, John?
I like the Titan HEA tip. I'm a fan.
John's a fan.
Approved.
Yeah, we used it on a fence, and amazing. If you want to have hardly any overspray, doing a fence, I mean...
Do we have any videos on a fence on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook?
We did. We just did one, a couple of them on Instagram doing fences, and one of them has like 375,000 views already in like 5 days.
But the Facebook has a lot more than that.
The Facebook one is almost 1 million views. And John was using a Titan HEA tip, a 517 tip, running at 1,000 PSI on our 1140. So yeah, really cool.
So Eugene says, do you need a different guard to use Titan HEA tips?
Very good question. I get asked this a lot. So if you have, I don't have a Graco guard in here anywhere, but so if you buy a Graco tip will not work in a Titan guard. Here's a Titan guard. This one comes with a Titan guard. So the Titan guard, if you buy a Titan tip, you need a Titan guard to go with it. If you buy a Graco tip, you need a Graco guard to go with it. And then even within Graco has Rack X guards and rack guards. And so depending on the tip you buy from Graco, you got to have the right tip to go with the right guard. Same with Titan. Titan has, I think, 2 different types of guards too, I believe. Or at least I know they got different colors. You have red ones, black ones, and orange ones. But so make sure you have the right tip and the right guard. But the guard itself will thread onto any gun. They're a universal thread. So no matter what tip and guard you have, it'll go on your gun. If you have a Titan gun, a Graco guard's going to go on that gun.
So John, you need to look for somebody that was on Instagram.
Yeah, we're going to be
first giveaway.
We're going to be giving away this Titan spray guide tonight. We're going to be giving away some Titan HEA tips. These are $35 tips. We're going to be giving away a shirt tonight. You got to show our shirt there, Lisa. I got to show this bad boy. These are cool. This says.
Turn it around.
Actually, let me show you this. This one is signed. It's autographed, not by me. If anybody can guess whose autograph that is, we'll send you a shirt. Yep. Guess whose autograph that is, and you. A hint. I won't give a hint.
No, don't give a hint. So I'm going to announce the winner of a Titan tip.
You know whose autograph that is, John?
Yes, I do.
No, John.
Probably take a guess.
So he knows.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Is it, right.
Yeah.
So
if you see him pop up on there.
this is going to be the second one.
Okay, we're picking winners right here. We like
Right
to give
here.
away stuff, so it's kind of cool. We're all in.
The top one.
So we're gonna give away something right now.
Yes.
What are we gonna give away?
We're going to give away the...
Titan HEA tip to
Yes.
Splash Painting.
So what do they need to do?
Splash Painting. You need to email or they need. I'm all messed up tonight.
Hey,
you need to email us the at our live show at the-idaho-painter.com. That's our
We have a winner.
Josh Allen, it says.
Yeah.
who guessed that?
Pro Finish Painting, Regina.
How do you guess that?
Because maybe
Probably announced it
you
already.
did.
That's
I think on
interesting.
No,
you saw-
Instagram.
I did on Instagram.
So tell that person that just guessed it, the first one that guessed
Who
it.
was the first one to guess it?
The
Pro
feed's gone
Finish?
too fast.
Finish painting, Regina.
Pro Finish
Yeah,
Painting.
so have them email us at live show.
So I'll tell you what. So
Uh,
he guessed us, and I don't know if you care, but if you could either have a shirt unsigned by Josh, or you can have a shirt signed by me. But if you want
He's
this,
probably going to be the number one quarterback.
yeah. So if you guys don't know who Josh Allen is, we're related to Josh, and in a way, he's my brother.
marriage.
Yeah, by marriage. And he signed the shirts for me. I went back there to the game and he signed a couple footballs for me. He's going to be in the first round draft pick or the first round draft pick in the NFL. They were talking about him possibly even going first round, number one pick in the
We'll see how
draft.
the season
So we'll
goes.
see. Yeah.
Great kid.
From Wyoming. He's a quarterback of Wyoming. So amazing kid. He's gigantic. Go check me out on Instagram and you can see how big he really is. There's a picture of me and him.
Yeah, some people did.
He's
Very cool.
he's crazy. He makes me look like a midget. It's like he's a super cool dude, and
also
yeah.
for people that are just joining us, we want to thank you for this donation to Hurricane Harvey from last week's super chat. So thank you. Because of you guys, we were able to donate some money to them.
We donated $1,385.
So thank you for being a part of that. And we're talking about tips for spraying.
Tips for spraying.
And the first one was using the extension, and the second one was using
the proper tip size.
tip size. And you have a video on YouTube for tip sizes if they
I do.
have a question about that.
I got several videos on YouTube.
What's number 3?
Number 3 is what I write in my notes. Using the cardboard shield holder right there. This thing, and you can see the use and abuse this thing has gotten right here, how much we actually use this thing. And that's not that old, really. Look how built up the paint is on that thing. This is the number one selling item on my tool store. I think last month, I sold over 100 of them, I think. This month, I've already sold like 35 of them. But it comes without the handle right here. This is a handle. I go to my local hardware store, get a window cleaner squeegee, and just take the squeegee off, and I screw it because I really like this handle. It's plastic and screwed on.
So
And
how much is that handle?
This
Like
the squeegee only costs not even $3.
Okay.
Like $2.97. This item is almost, it's around $20 for this cardboard shield holder. But this thing holds a cardboard shield in it, and the cardboard shields cost us 50 cents, and they last for a long time. They get a lot of paint. They've actually worked really good with paint built up on them, and so we keep reusing them over and over. But the reason why I like this cardboard shield holder over all the other cardboard shield holders, and John, agrees, is this thing will adjust at whatever angle just by touching it on the ground. You touch it on the ground, and you can get it to any angle you want. No tools. All the other ones that I've ever used have wing nuts on them, and you got to adjust them with wing nuts, and that's really annoying. This one, you can adjust the tension by this screw right here, but it's awesome. This thing is absolutely amazing, and we're going to eventually, I've talked to the company that makes them, and we're going to start selling them directly, our own. But right now I have them in my tool store as an Amazon affiliate link, and when you buy them, I just get a small percentage. It's just a simple way to help support our channel by buying our tools and accessories. But this thing is it's
Real fast.
Yeah.
How would they find your tool store?
Oh, good question. My tool store, if you go to my website, theidahopainter.com, there's a tab right at the top that says tool store.
Okay.
And the tool store has changed now because Amazon's doing away with the A store. So my own storefront, they're doing away with that. Now it's kind of just links and stuff. And
Got a question on Facebook about the shield holder. Sock Valley Painting and Staining wants to know how you keep the cardboard from bending in like 3 minutes.
You know, you just have the cardboards are. That's a good question. I mean, they obviously will bend, and once they've bent like on one of the ends, then it's just gonna sag. And you just learn. It's just practice. It's just over time. I mean, you can't hit it on stuff. You got to just be careful when you slide it in. And I don't know what cardboard you're using, but depending on the cardboard, we always buy them by the case. They come in this big box, and the ones that we have are pretty stiff, pretty tough, and you just have to be careful. And when you slide it in there, and if they get too heavy with paint too, they will bend. So if they start to get a lot of paint on them, we take a brush and brush the paint off. But it's just another one of those things. It's like doing sealing cut-ins. It's really practice. But I definitely know what you're talking about. I understand your feeling. Once a cardboard shield bends, it's not really good for holding it in the shield anymore. It's good for sticking in gutters, for keeping overspray off of gutters. So that's what we use them for.
But sometimes I've gone to job sites and I've seen those like all over the yard. And can you explain that?
That's for we put them in gutters. So when we're painting gutters,
but don't you let them dry?
Oh
and
yeah,
reuse them.
We let them, like the brand new ones will get some. They'll get some spray built up on them after using them. Then we take them, scrape them off. It's real heavy. Then we set them out to dry, and then we reuse them. And here you can reuse them quite a few times in here with paint built up on them before you have to. Before you have to use them just as gutter shields. But once they get a kink in them and bent, do you have any tips on keeping them from bending, John?
You know, Splash Painting on Facebook just had a good tip about taking the cardboard shield, spraying it with paint, letting it dry, and then once it's dry, putting it back in.
That's an excellent tip. I love that. We've never done that before. Mm-hmm. Great tip from Splash Painting, because a coat of paint is going to make it stiffer, and so that's what they do. They get stiffer with paint on them. So if you can spray it front and back, it's going to be stiffer, heavier, and going to last longer. But these things they're amazing for controlling overspray around corners. So you hold it when you're spraying around a corner, so the paint doesn't whip around a corner. When you're doing the soffits, you hold it under the fascia so you don't get it kicking up in the air. You keep it off the footings. You use them. I got videos using these things, showing you how to use them, and it's an absolute must. You have to spray with these things. Just recently I saw guys spraying. Even if there is no footing, it just goes down to the grass. Why get overspray and paint all over the grass? Even if they're going to mow it, you could just use this thing, and it just makes you look more professional. I saw a guy on Instagram just getting overspray all over the grass, not using one of these things. They're simple. These things last forever. I mean, not forever, but I mean, this one's got to be. I mean, I don't know. We got some of them that are at least 5 years old, don't we, John? I think so.
Holders?
Yeah.
So I have a question.
$20 what?
So the cardboard shields. How long does one shield usually last? Is it one house, two houses, 5 houses? Like how much use do you get out of a cardboard shield?
Good question. We have cardboard shields out there that got to be in the van. They got to be at least a year old, and
wow.
And because they'll last forever.
Wow.
In gutters, keeping overspray off. So we eventually get some of them because we can't use them here. They just get piled up in the van, and we just take them and we just throw them away because we get so many. We don't need thousands of them for the gutters and stuff. But
so you put them on top of the gutters.
You stick them into the gutter,
okay.
And then when you spray the gutter, the overspray doesn't go up onto the roof.
I've seen houses where they don't do that, and the roofs are painted.
Oh, yes. It's such a simple little thing. I mean, 50 cents and a whole case of them could last you a year.
Okay.
And
that's a really good tip.
Yeah.
It's a really good tip. So we have 3 tips, and let's do one more giveaway. He was on.
We'll do a giveaway. We got to do an announcement.
If
you don't know, if you're on YouTube, you don't know. Please go follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram is growing like rapidly. We're almost 14,000 followers now. We would love to have you on Instagram. I give away stuff on Instagram. It's fun. We do 30-minute, 1-minute videos on there, how-to videos that you'll never see on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And then pictures of just whatever we're doing. Fun pictures, random. It could be fishing and it could be painting. But go follow us on Instagram. The Facebook guys right here, go follow us on Instagram. It'd be cool. The YouTube, we're on Facebook too. We're Facebook Live, and then Facebook, we're on YouTube Live. And so, and please, if you're on Facebook, please share our live video so a lot of people will come watch us. For some weird reason, we like people watching us. We like lots of people watch us.
Well, we want to build a community where we want
We wanna
everybody to increase their skills.
We want to help a lot of people. That's what we're here for, is helping people out. So
We want DIYers to do a better job, and we want professional painters to have a place where they could come and learn and
yeah.
be real.
So,
the second winner,
is Brandon Ward.
Brandon Ward.
What does Brandon Ward win?
He won a tip.
He's got a Titan HEA tip.
Yeah.
Great tips. So we got to keep
So-
moving because we got 14 minutes.
John, can you put the email for him to email his address to us?
The email is our live show email.
Brandon Moore?
Yeah.
Brandon Moore. Our live
Ward, W-A-R-D.
Our live show email is always liveshow at the-idaho-painter.com. We want to keep it, even anything related to Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. If you'd always just please use that email. We're just overwhelmed on all of our other stuff. I mean, we answer hundreds of questions a day. It's incredible.
But we love them sharing pictures, and we love the interaction.
Share our pictures. We love. I mean, we had some people, a bunch of female painters. It was awesome. Female painters, you girls rock. They shared a bunch
my
of
painter?
pictures. You are. Go check out Instagram or Instagram. Our female painters. There's a bunch of them, and you'll see my wife in there, all dirtied up. And so
I was doing
her.
wallpaper removal
Yeah.
because I tried to do a painting project. I even watched his videos,
Yeah.
and he had his guys take over my job. So
And so we take pictures from Facebook and we share them on Instagram too, and we do the same thing, Instagram to Facebook. So it's kind of cool.
yeah. So we've talked about 3. Now we have a couple more.
4.
Tip 4.
Tip number 4 is using the proper pressure. And this is getting back to like over in the UK, one of the biggest fears. I mean, there's a lot of people. I'm pretty big in the UK. A lot of people follow me, and their biggest fears is the overspray and controlling overspray. We've gone over a few things that help control overspray, but pressure is another one. Using the proper pressure. If you just take your airless sprayer and just kick it up to full pressure, man, you're just going to create this mass amount of overspray, this dust in the air. The finish isn't going to look as good. It's not going to be as fine. So you got to understand pressure and play around with the proper pressure, where the tip is not going to finger, and it's going to give you nice feathered edges. And it's going to lay out the paint properly. If the pressure's too high, it can finger, but it's going to throw out this massive cloud. If it's too low, it's going to get finger and real splotchy in the middle. That's one of the interesting thing about these Titan HEA tips. You can go all the way down to 1,000 PSI, and it's incredible how nice and feathered those edges are at 1,000 PSI. It's really cool. But the proper pressure is very, very important. When I'm spraying exteriors, we do everything pretty much the same on our large sprayers. Our large sprayers have digital readouts, and so we can turn them right. I think, is it 2200 PSI typically?
Typically.
22
yeah.
to 24. 22 or 2400 PSI is typically what we run our large sprayers, when we're spraying exteriors. And that's kind of what we dialed in with the tips we use. We use on exteriors, we've been using for a lot of years, the Graco Rack X tips. Now we've been experimenting with these HEA tips. And so the HEA tips, you do not want to run them at higher pressure. You want to run them, and that's at the gun. You want it to run 1,000 PSI at the gun. So that means the pressure at the sprayer, depending on the length of the hose, you're probably wanting it to be at about 1,200 PSI, because it'll drop down to about 200 PSI by the time it gets to the gun. And using the proper pressure is going to help you control your overspray, and it's going to make your spray pattern look good. So you just kind of got to play around with it when you're spraying on the siding on the house. Before you start, just spray and just look at the pattern it's putting out, adjust it, readjust the pressure. Eventually you're going to learn which pressure to use and which one works best for you.
Jenny Tootin's talking about how the wind being on the coast, and then John was saying, and the humidity must be bad also, because we're really dry here. And so that's one thing that we're excited about. In the next year, we want to start visiting you guys.
Yeah.
We want to hear and see where you work, what issues you deal with, and increase our education and help each other. So that's something exciting we want to do.
The controlling overspray, that brings up a point I'm going to talk about: wind and humidity. The higher the humidity, the longer the paint's going to hang in the air, the droplet's going to come down and not dry. We're really dry around here, and I've never once had an overspray claim in my career, and I've sprayed on really, really windy days, and so has John, on massively windy days. And if you use the proper pressure, use the proper tip size, use a cardboard shield holder, even when it's windy, you can do it, and you can not get overspray on other people's houses, other people's cars. It can be done. You just have to be taught properly. Watch our videos. We show you how, but once again, proper pressure is very, very important.
So what is your advice for, like, if it's extremely windy? I mean, is there times when you don't go out and paint? Like, it's
extremely windy. What the wind does is it doesn't stop us from painting, but it makes our masking miserable. It takes a lot longer to mask. The wind masking comes off, blows off, and you use a little bit more paint because the paint gets caught up in the wind and stuff. But the paint, like, flash dries really fast. What you see, that, like, cloud when you spray a soften, it goes up in the air. That cloud, a lot of it is just like the silica dust and just dust that is part of the clays and fillers and stuff like that. It's not actually droplets of paint, and so a lot of people, kind of misunderstand what that is up there. And but on a humid day, if it's on the verge of raining and stuff, that's where one of the paint's resilience is great for. But whenever you're going to go around on windy day, going around a corner, you got a shield. You got to use that cardboard shield holder. Got to use it on the fascia, on the corners and stuff, and you shouldn't have a problem. I mean, I literally the paint sprayed on days when it's 20-mile-an-hour winds. And
well, I'm excited. Some people are saying come visit us, and so this next year I definitely want to come to some places in the U.S. and
nice golf courses too. I love golfing.
Yeah. So, and our daughter is dating a boy from Chicago, so we might come to Chicago at some point. You never know.
Kenny Thornton, shout out from Kenny's house painting from Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah, Georgia, because I know they're getting the Hurricane Irma. So I think it's a tropical storm now, but keep safe.
Doom Slayer just says, nah, just good old school brush and roll. I mean, yeah, if that's what works for you, brush and roll. Or, whatever works. It's like whatever works and whatever makes you money, whatever you're comfortable doing.
Yeah.
We're trying to give you some ideas that, airless sprayers. Airless sprayers are a way that can really make you money and make you a lot of money if you understand how to use them and don't be intimidated by them. Yeah. We're going to have John come answer.
Okay, so you're going to be on tip 5?
5 and 6.
Yes, goodbye everybody. Thank you for being with us. And
John answers like technical questions, and then Lisa gets on here and she goes back over there and answers other saying hi, and she likes to promote the other stuff like us traveling and stuff like that, so she'll promote that. Don't forget, follow us on Instagram. Please like our stuff on Instagram. Please, when you're on Facebook, please share it. It really helps us out if you share our stuff on Instagram. So we had a video, John spraying a fence. It's getting close to 1 million. Yeah, close. Almost. It's like last time I looked at it, like 765,000 views or something like that. And how many people shared it? And it's incredible when you share our stuff. It makes it grow fast.
People that didn't appreciate how we stain fences, and that's okay.
We always get criticism in everything we do. I mean, if we don't wear a respirator because we need to talk and explain, we get butchered for that. Or
it's okay.
Yeah, it's all part of the business. Yeah, so follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. We love it when you guys follow us. Go check out our website, theidahopainter.com. Got a lot more tips and tricks available there other than what you see on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. We do have paid email support, phone support, where we answer your questions, that route. You can actually talk to me personally on the phone if you have questions. We do sell our bid packet, our 20-page document we've created that wins us a lot of bids without even having to meet customers and stuff like that. So if you want to see that document, it doesn't matter whether it's going to make you just as competitive as me, bidding bids. I don't care. I'm here to help you guys out. If you want to check that document out, it's at least 20 pages. I got my bid packet, my invoice packet. That's a 5-page document too, just invoicing the customer. So that's available on our website too. So we're rolling right along here with six best tips painting with an airless sprayer, and number 5 is spray techniques. So
spray techniques.
Yeah, so we came up. John and I were talking about some of the spray techniques. That I guess I'll ask him. So let's talk about creating a consistent method. And so when we paint trim, let's talk about how we go about painting trim. And tell me what does it mean creating a consistent method?
You know, the big idea with creating a consistent method is you do the same thing over and over and over again. So when you have a door jamb that you're going to spray, you spray the same side first, and then you work around, and then you do the next section on that door jamb, and you have a system and a way of doing it over and over and over and over again, and that helps you in a bunch of ways.
Yeah, and I have a system, like when I spray a door jamb, my system is I go from the bottom right to left, and you got to come up with a consistent method, and if you don't, this is where you'll start to get runs and run into problems. But when I walk in a house, all the trim around here is pretty much the same, and I have this consistent method that I spray a door jamb, and I never get runs on them. I developed this system that works for me. It's from left to right, bottom to top. I go back over, and I do the edge and then work my way around the door jamb. And my videos show you exactly how I do that. But having a consistent method for a door jamb, for trim, for a window trim, I do the same thing on window trim. And I taught John how to do it, and he did that for a while, but he eventually developed his own method that worked for him.
Yeah, but that's a good way to, and that's what I always tell our new guys when they're starting. I'll say, hey, I want you to do it exactly like this, and it's not to just be a pain. You do it like this, and eventually you can figure out how you want to do it. But it helps you, like for the door jamb, it helps you so you're not missing sides, so that you're not having to go back and try to spray, and then you get flashing all over, then you start getting runs because you're trying to put too much paint in a certain area. Yeah. Systems will help you in the long run, especially if you can stick to them. So
here's another when it comes to the spray techniques, doing fast turnovers. Mm-hmm. So what does it mean to do a fast turnover when we tell our guys, turn over faster?
So that's when you start switching directions. So especially if you're not letting go of the trigger, like if we're working on spraying a garage door, a front door, something like that, we will keep the trigger pulled in order so that we don't get spits. But key with that is if you slow down too much when you're changing direction, you're going to get a big old holiday or a heavy spot right there.
Yeah, and that heavy spot right there, if it doesn't run, it could run, but if it doesn't run, over time, that's going to be a shiny spot because it weathers differently than the rest of the house.
It might start alligatoring and cracking apart too.
It does. So you got to be careful. So you got to come, and your turnover is not the same speed. You got to come, turn over, and go back faster the other direction. Just turn it over because you kind of have that lag point right there. So
it's kind of a rhythm. Like you kind of just, to me, the way it helps for me to do it is I've always thought about like whipping that spray extension up and down, and you just kind of get this feel for how you flip it back and forth.
Yep. And it's just up and back, and it's kind of like spraying with a spray can. It's kind of the same thing. We have guys spray the roof vents, and it's kind of interesting. They go up and spray the roof vents with flat black, and it's a good way to teach them how to just trigger control.
Yeah.
That people have never sprayed.
Just like fly fishing, that's right.
So, and that gets onto trigger control and spray techniques, trigger control, and trigger control, controlling spits.
So we're talking. So this one, not releasing. So anytime you've got an extension, you have the potential for spits. Anytime there's that lag time between when you let go of the trigger and the paint that's in this, and as it comes to the end, that's going to spit out. Your trigger control is all about like figuring out where do you let go of the trigger, where's the best place to do it so that those spits either aren't going to show up and be a big deal, or to figure out... I just totally lost my train of thought.
That's great. It's all right.
Where you let go so that if there is a spit, it's not going to show up and become a problem for you in the long run.
Yeah. All right. So one more thing is breaking up walls. And so you can see some of this in my exterior painting is where do you start and stop, and where are logical start and stops. I mean, your spray techniques are, you really got to break them up in the right places, and even on interior walls, right?
Yeah, on interior walls, exterior walls. So like for me, if we're working on exteriors right now, that's our time of year. I will look at a big gabled end of a house and try to figure out, okay, where do I want to break this up? Because obviously I can only reach so far, so I know I'm going to have to break it up. And where does it make the most sense so that those lap marks don't show up, or I don't have issues with feathering, or I can get over to a ladder quickly so that I don't have issues with paint flashing and drying.
Yeah. So it's the same. It's like, and on this room right here, I mean, when I start spraying this room, I'm going to break up this room. What am I going to do? If I'll do the ceiling first, but then the walls, I don't want to start in the middle of the wall. I'm going to break this room up and go, okay, I'm going to start right here in this corner, and I'm going to work my way all the way around this room. So you want to break your room up, break your walls up into logical places in order for it to look like a professional did it. You start in the middle of the wall. By the time you wrap around this wall and you come back and finish in the middle of this wall, you're going to have an overlapping spot and a dry feathered spot where you're going to see that overlap, versus in the corner you won't. So proper spray technique is, breaking up your walls. Now, another thing that's really important is keeping a wet edge. And this is harder outside than it is inside, but there's 2 times keeping wet edge on high walls outside and on ceilings. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, so it's all about putting enough paint on. Anytime you get flashing, what's happening is that dust is coming off of where you sprayed and landing on paint that's already dried, and it changes the profile of that paint and casts a bunch of shadows. So how do you solve that? You got to make sure the paint's still wet that you're working with, so that when you overlap, you're going to get some spray that comes onto that. It needs to be able to, in essence, melt into the previous lap that you had just stopped with. And so you want to make sure you're moving quickly enough and that you're leaving enough paint on the end of that lap so that when you come back against it, you've still got wet paint to work with.
One of the things that will help you keeping a wet edge is using a gun extension. I can't tell you how important these things are. Use a gun extension. It's going to help you keep a wet edge because you can reach higher, farther, and it's part of that process of keeping a wet edge.
We know there's a learning curve to it, and that's just kind of the way it is. When we're teaching our guys, even now we're starting them with extensions instead of without extensions, because if they start with extensions, then anytime they do it with a shorter extension or no extension, it's a piece of cake. Better just to get the skill down early on and often and be practicing like that.
Yep.
So how many tips have we gone through?
We got a little annoying dog out here.
I know. It's a daughter's boyfriend's dog. I don't know how we adopt
It's a weasel.
these dogs. We'll take a doggy break. Because that's what we're going to do. Come on in.
So what were you saying,
Watch,
Lisa?
that's Sarah.
Boom, here they
that's
come.
Nani, and that's Peanut.
So
and that's boyfriend's
they
dog.
They can't
boyfriend's
see
dog.
them because they're on the ground.
Nani. Here, this is Nani. She doesn't live with us, but she comes and swims in our pool. And this is Peanut. She just is visiting us from college. Gabriel's dog. And that's Sarah. This is our dog, and they love playing.
All right.
So we're going to do doggy daycare.
We got to get back to the show here. We're almost done.
Dog break.
Out.
So we're going to get on to our last tip. Tip number 6 is proper cleaning, and then even using pump protector while you're cleaning. John cleans the 1140 out every single day he sprays. So why don't you talk a little bit about cleaning?
Yeah, with cleaning, to me, it's one of those tasks that you want to get done as quickly as possible, but not so fast that you do a poor job, because that'll end up costing you big time and big money in the long run. When I'm cleaning out something that's got a siphon on it, so like our 440s, I'll make sure I'll drop that siphon in water, and I'll use my hand to scrub as much of that paint off the siphon as possible, run some through it, and then the goal, and when I'm teaching our guys how to clean sprayer, the goal is to get it into clean water as soon as possible and not make that water messy, because that clean water working through it is going to help you clean it out a lot quicker.
And then the clean water thing too. This is a lot of people don't understand. When you fill a 5-gallon bucket up, if you got any little debris, anything little floating around there, those little small debris, they're going to get by the rock guard. They're going to slip up into even past maybe the manifold filter and clog your gun filters. That's where your gun filters get clogged really fast.
Yeah, and it's cleaning it properly is going to save you a ton of time in the long run.
It will. And so you use, and when I say and clean water, I always try to get this in the guys. I mean, that bucket of water, when you clean that whole thing, that siphon pump, clean it all out. and then you switch over to really fresh, clean water. Make sure, and we've got like 3 or 4 buckets that we're filling up. Make sure when the water's all swirling around, make sure at the bottom there's nothing at the bottom. It's just
no floaties,
no pieces of paint, no little rocks, no pieces of grass. And we've had a piece of grass get by the rock filter.
That's so frustrating.
And
when I have
get
to tear a sprayer apart to get a piece of grass
out because it gets in between the ball and where the ball seats, and it keeps that ball from seating, and then the sprayer won't prime. Yeah. And we've literally had to tear this thing apart and pull a piece of grass out. So something that small.
We have some super chats.
We got Gabriel Nunez. We got a super chat from Gabriel Nunez. Thank you very much, Gabriel. Thank you, XC Painters. I follow him on Instagram. If you want me to follow you on Instagram, there was one X-Wall, I think. X-Wall, I said I was going to follow him. So I'll be following him on Instagram. XC Painters and Andrew Slovacek. We got 3 super chatters. Thank you guys very, very much. So what about when we're done cleaning the pumps? Here's something, I think it's really important to, especially in the wintertime, to put some type of protector in the water, protecting it. What do we do?
So your options are you pay for pump protector, which is a little spendy, or what we do is we use antifreeze, just your regular automotive antifreeze, or actually a lot of times we use RV antifreeze even, which is a little bit more mild than automotive antifreeze. And we dilute that with a bunch of water, and that does a number of things. It keeps your the internal pieces of your sprayer from corroding. It helps protect it. It's got propylene glycol in it, which basically keeps the paint from drying. Someone just earlier on the live chat was talking about dried paint on the inside of their hoses. It doesn't matter how much you clean, and that water may look like you can drink it coming out of your gun while you're cleaning that sprayer. There's always still residue inside that hose, and that antifreeze will keep that from drying. And then, because even with the water in the hose, it'll dry on the inside of that hose and then breaks loose over time. And that propylene glycol and the antifreeze, that's going to help keep things nice and soft, basically.
Yep.
Okay, people.
Yep.
We're about time to wrap.
You're about time to wrap. We went over a little bit because we had a major issue at the beginning of the show. Wirecast crashed, and we got it going again. So it was kind of cool. They kind of killed a little bit of how many people showed up, but so anything else we need to? Yeah, people that mattered showed up.
So thank you so much for being patient and being with us, because without you guys, it would be really weird for us 3 to be sitting in this room.
Just talking.
If there was only one, we would talk to one.
I know, but still it'd be a little weird.
You would get your questions answered right away.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, and there's quite a few people on.
Weird.
So don't forget, follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We're going to give away the Titan spray guide. I think these things cost around $75 now. I do sell them on my tool store at theidahopainter.com. What other things we got to remind people of? I think we reminded people of everything.
Thank you for donating to Hurricane Harvey, and we
cool.
Want to hear if we're going to need to do the same for Irma next week. But remember the victims from 9/11 and the resiliency of our country, and encourage everybody to go to the 9/11 Memorial in New York if you go to New York.
If you go to New York, you got to go see that thing. It was absolutely amazing. So never forget. Important day. If you want to, I do get people asking us about our shirts and hats. You can, on the website, I do got a shirt and hat store where you can go purchase them to help support our live show and all our videos that we do. I try to put out a video every Wednesday and Saturday, and then we do our live show on Monday. But who are we going to give this thing away to? This Titan spray guide.
I thought it was on the...
Where's that little thing? That spray thing.
This thing?
Yeah. So check this thing while Lisa's looking it out. I don't know if anybody's tried one of these things. We just got sent this thing to test out the clean and roll, and you attach a roller to it and a hose to it. You squeeze this trigger, and it cleans. It's supposed to clean your roller out. I haven't tested.
It actually works.
It worked?
I'm kind of excited that it worked, because this is going to make cleaning like roller covers in the wintertime way easier. You just do it right in the sink. It doesn't move as fast as a hose does, so it doesn't fluff the pile on the roller out quite as much as I would want it to, but it's clean.
You know what's interesting? When I got sent this thing, I was like, why would I ever use this thing? Because a water hose and the thing we use in a 5-gallon bucket works just fine. And now I'm going to have to pull a roller off, get paint all over my hand, and stick it on here. But then John brought up, his mind thinks a lot more broader than my mind does, obviously. He's like, what about in the wintertime? And I'm like, holy cow, you hook this up, put it in a sink, and now you can, in the wintertime, because we can't clean our rollers outside, you can put it inside the sink. It's not going to splatter water everywhere. And then I was, didn't know if it would really work, but you said it works.
For what it is, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
It's called the Clean. I don't even know where you would get them. Clean and Roll. I just know the guy sent it to me. And
they've got a little QR code.
There's a QR code, Pamrick Enterprises LLC. I think it was, no, it wasn't Clean and Roll. There's nothing on here, Clean and Roll. It's kind of, he sent me, it was kind of cool because he sent me enough stamps to send it back to him if I didn't want to try it out.
So we tried it out.
We tried it out. And you got to check it out. I mean, John likes it. And I think it's going to be great in the wintertime.
We'll have to do a little Instagram video on it or something.
Yeah, we'll do an Instagram video on how well it works.
We have a winner and a wrap.
Winner, chicken dinner. Kalel. You're the winner. Titan Spray Guide. We're going to send you a Titan Spray Guide. I think we didn't even give away one shirt. Whoa!
Yes, we did.
We gave away the Josh Allen shirt, but we got to give one.
No, we did enough. We did 5 things.
Are you sure?
Yes, we're good.
All right.
I'm the one who mails stuff. The college girl's gone.
We don't have our other staff worker in here.
No.
So cool. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for being on this live show. Thank you for being patient and working through the technical difficulties we had at the end or at the beginning. So right here, Facebook guys, thanks for showing up. We're going to be pushing this finish button right here, and we'll see you on our next show. Facebook, we got to be hitting the out button, stop streaming button. You guys, thanks for being here. See you on our next show.
Thank you.
Out.
Thank you, guys.